Where do I even start with this man?
Scuffing in there, I've gone, give me my fucking shit! Bang!
So it's no secret that Lance Stroll has just slightly been underperforming. And when I mean slight underachievement, I mean he's been fucking dreadful. So I thought, considering how much he stirred up in Qatar, and I will talk about all of the stuff that happened, let's talk about all of his underachievements in a jolly old video. So let's get straight into it with his qualifying results. So, 2 fun facts for you about Lance Stroll. He hasn't actually made it into Q3 since Spa. You know, the race that was about 6 races ago, which in an Aston Martin is dreadful. Even with their lower performances in the second half of the season, they're still very much around the edge of the top 10. And then another fun fact for you, he hasn't actually made it out of Q1 since Monza. Huh? Now, you know, there's the Hasses, the Alfa Romeos, the Alfa Tauris, the Williams, all fighting to get out of Q1. But it's just too much for Lance Stroll in that Aston Martin. Like, my God, that is such a terrible stat. How is that a stat? I don't know. Stroll, qualifying is the least of your worries though. Now let's talk about your race results. For his race results, it's actually quite short and snappy, but it's a hard pill to swallow. Since the Silverstone Grand Prix, Lance Stroll has amassed a whopping 3 points. 3 points since Silverstone. And with that in mind, let's have a look with some of his head-to-heads. So let's start off with the championship, where in his head-to-head, Alonso, 183 points to Stroll's 47. That is about 5 race wins and a 5th place to get to where Alonso is. So, quite a big gap. Since Silverstone, Alonso, 52 points. Stroll, 3. Podiums between Alonso and Stroll. Alonso, 7. Very respectable. Some would say that's why that Aston deserves to have. I would say the same. Stroll, 0. He got 4th in Australia, but I don't really count that race considering how hectic it was. Very chaotic, and if that was his best result, it kind of just sums up his whole season. And then one more head-to-head with his teammate Alonso. Qatar qualifying. Alonso 4th, Lance Stroll 17th. Their final times, Alonso 2 seconds-ish faster than Lance Stroll. And then I'll give you one more head-to-head, which is a fun little guessing game for all of you watching this video right now. I have an unknown driver and Lance Stroll head-to-head since Silverstone. So obviously we've got Lance Stroll at 3 points, an unknown driver, 4 points at Qatar, 1 point in Monza, leaving him with 5 points, almost double what Stroll got, is Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa Romeo. A car that in most races is fighting to get out of Q1, wouldn't even be near to the top 10 in most races. But you know, Bottas managed to get 5 points, almost double Stroll's points since Silverstone. And Stroll only managed 3. Really just shows you how bad it's going for Lance Stroll. And then even if we went back and looked at the championship, I'll show you Lance Stroll's championship points now. He's on 47, like I've said in this video. But there's 2 drivers, Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly, who are right behind him. Pierre Gasly on 46 points and Esteban Ocon on 44 points. That means they're 1 point and 3 point respectively behind Lance Stroll. Now, the Alpine isn't actually a terrible car this season. You know, around the lower end of the teens, so 11th, 12th, 13th is where you're normally going to find them. They get their 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th occasionally, but no, you can't be that close to Ocon and Gasly in an Aston Martin. And with how poor he's driven since Silverstone, I have no doubt in my mind by the end of the season, Lance Stroll would have lost those places in the championship to both of the Alpine drivers, which would actually leave Stroll 12th in the drivers' standings for 2023. Dreadful, considering his teammate is looking like he could finish 4th. Only 3 times worse. Only 3 times worse. And after all of these stats are thrown at you, there's a cherry on top. And it's his bad attitude, which we've very happily seen at Qatar. I will say, his interview was terrible. He shouldn't be so moody in interviews. My God, was it hilarious though. Very unprofessional from him. And We also saw that clip of him pushing his employee. I believe it was like his trainer. He fully wellies him. You can't be doing that. Stroll, I know you're performing bad, but you can't take it out on other people. It's his fault for how bad he's been doing. I know he had his hand problem at the start of the season, but it looked like he was performing better when he had the hand problems. So I really don't know what's going on in his head. It's just since he's been in F1, he's done nothing. And it's a shame to say he needs to move on for his own mental health and for some more reasons, which I will say right now. He has officially cost Aston Martin 4th in the Constructors. McLaren will overtake him. They're only a few points behind now. And McLaren are looking like podium contenders. And with both drivers actually finishing on the podiums when they've got a car that can finish on the podium, that's the difference. That's going to cost Aston Martin a lot of money. He's constantly crashing as well. That's more money down the drain for Aston Martin that they do not need. He's costing young drivers positions to be in F1. Now, I actually spoke about this in one of my other videos about Alonso and Hamilton, but I disagreed with that statement because I was like, Alonso and Hamilton still at their, maybe not peaks, but they're still very good drivers. I think top 3 drivers potentially in F1 at the minute. Stroll though, he's easily one of the worst drivers in F1, and because of Lawrence Stroll just keeping his son in that seat, young drivers aren't getting chances. It's a real shame to see, because F2 champions deserve a seat in F1 just to be given a chance. Obviously it doesn't work out sometimes, like you got Nick De Vries, it's not working out. Logan Sargent was a champion, but it's just not working out for him. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but you need to actually have an F1 seat to realise that. So I'm kind of hoping he says to the team himself that he will resign. I doubt it happening because he has a seat for 2024, so I wouldn't be surprised if he kept it. But for the good of the sport, Stroll, please retire. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed me moaning about Lance Stroll in today's video. But I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you all later for another F1 video. Bye bye.